Well, hello again, YouTube. I am finally back after my nice little leave of absence, or at least I wish I could call it that. It was really kind of an unpleasant leave of absence. I've been very busy with schoolwork, and recently I took the Fundamentals of Engineering exam, which was a horribly long 8-hour exam covering all the stuff that I've learned in school for about the last 4 years. Fortunately, I think it went well, and thank you to all of you who were supportive of me on that. Really appreciated that, because I was definitely not so confident going into the test. Thank goodness I have a good wife and some people who care that really helped me out. In fact, if it wouldn't have been for my wife, I don't think I could have pulled that one off. In any case, I am playing as Sweden, and you can see my opponent is playing as Spain. And I am adding this commentary after I recorded, because I accidentally had the mic muted when I was recording. So I can't quite see all the units in the writing there, because I'm having to do this in Movie Maker. My first strategy here, I will introduce you to the armies later. My opponent had better cavalry than me. I've got 3 units of hussars, and he had 2 units of guard cavalry, Gardias du Corps, and he had also a unit of, I want to say it was line cavalry, I believe it is. Anyway, I'm just showing you some of the devastating effects of my artillery there. Apparently my artillerymen are quite familiar with the equations for freefall, and they're doing a good job of calculating where to land these shells. I'm proud of them. They should be engineers. No, I have my artillery targeted at his guard cavalry, and this will demoralize them and drop some of their numbers. And that'll allow me to use my inferior cavalry, the hussars, to destroy his. Now, my opponent was pretty worried about my howitzers. He has 2 12-pound foot artillery, and they were causing a fair bit of damage, but I have my men spread really thin, and so just not being explosive shot, the 12-pound artillery is a little less than effective. But still, I think that if he would have done a better job targeting it at my howitzers, he could have destroyed my artillery. Instead, he did this kind of desperate attempt with his cavalry. But again, I'm not trying to trash on my opponent. This is just what he thought was best, and I'm trying to take advantage of it. So here comes my hussars. I have them in diamond formation, just kind of for fun. I think diamond formation helps more when you're charging infantry rather than cavalry. So here we go. I've caught some of his cavalry from the side. And I did, of course, turn my artillery fire away, because I didn't want to kill my own men. Yep, so there's some nice fighting going on. I don't know if I've ever played as Sweden online. I don't remember what videos I've put up. I really haven't played a whole lot of Napoleon Total War battles, 50 maybe at the most. And to be honest, I don't win too many of them. I'm not very good at this game yet. And it's probably because I'm a little bit into Halo, and to be honest, with my school schedule, if I'm going to play a game real quick, Halo is just a heck of a lot quicker. Alright, here my artillery is under threat. One of my opponent's units of cavalry has broken loose from that fight, and he's going to make a beeline for my howitzer. And I'm thinking I'm pretty smart here. I'm going to run up these line infantry and form a square and just totally stop him in his tracks. Unfortunately for me, I position my men improperly, and when they form a square, it basically just allows his cavalry to plow right through. So I'm going to lose that howitzer, but my opponent will lose all of his cavalry in the process, and I suppose that's a fair trade. I win cavalry supremacy, and he gets one of my artillery units. In this case, it's a fair trade. If he would have had howitzers, then that would have been bad, because he would now have the artillery advantage. Anyway, here's some nice close-ups. I like the top hats on my Swedish artillery crew there. You know, if you're going to go to battle, you might as well go well-dressed, so that your opponents are offended by your sweet style. And I made kind of a noobish mistake here. On Napoleon Total War and Empire Total War, you really don't want to charge your cavalry in big old groups like you did on Rome Total War, because you will kill your own men by charging into the back, so I really should have just used 1 unit of cavalry there rather than the gigantic overkill that I did. I pulled 1 unit back into reserve to guard my general, just in case it should be needed, because I feel like I can pretty well outflank my opponent as it is. Now, my opponent was a little more scrunched together in the beginning. You can study the mini-map throughout this battle if you want to see exactly what's happening. Our skirmishers are now exchanging fire. I have better skirmisher range, but he has higher numbers of skirmishers since he's using the skirmishers that come in groups of 90 rather than 60. So my men have better range and accuracy, his men have numbers. And it's a pretty fair skirmish exchange, to be honest. I don't really think my men were particularly wasting him. But he's also moving up his line infantry, and I'm going to allow him to do that, even though it's going to kill some of my skirmishers. I really just want to get his line weakened and get them focused on my skirmishers, and then I will try and move to his flanks. Alright, here I was just showing you some of his units, but like I said, I can't see the writing on the screen. My opponent had 2 units of Guardias de Infanterie, 2 units 12-pound foot artillery, 5 units of Cazadores, and the remainder of his infantry was line infantry. And here's one of his units of guards that I'm pointing out. My artillery fire is focused on them. And what I want to teach you here, and like I said, I'm not the greatest player at this game, but it is definitely smart if you can do it to target your artillery on your own and not leave it on fire at will. This will allow you to target the most valuable targets. So here, his Guardias de Infanterie, I need to take them out because they inspire the rest of his troops, and they're on my flank, and it's quite a strong unit. If I take them out, it'll help lower the morale of the rest of his army. And here I'm about to get an amazing artillery shot. You're going to see corpses flying. My artillery crew did their math well on this one. So I'll just let you see that. It should be coming. Yeah, I saw the muzzle flash. Here it comes. Woo! Brutal. And we'll get a nice zoom in on the charred corpses sitting in the crater left by my artillery. Poor saps. Look at that dude. It looks like his leg's all broken behind him. Anyway, that's what you get for being an expensive unit on the battlefield. You're going to become the target of aggression. And I definitely want to get these men out of here so that my flank isn't threatened by a superior unit. Guardias de Infanterie, they were excellent units in Empire Total War, and they're excellent units on this game as well. In fact, the Spanish, one of the Spanish guards in Empire Total War probably had some of the best stats I'd seen in that game. Now, my opponent's getting sick of me tearing up his guards, and so he's going to try and get into melee combat because they will excel there, but the fire from my skirmishers and my line infantry is just going to make them rout. And when you see guards rout with that many men left, they've definitely been under some horrible fire and artillery fire. So they're going to run right back past Broken Leg Larry there in his crater. And here's the rest of his line infantry exchanging fire with my own. And now that his guards have routed, the rest of his troops are going to be demoralized. I don't think it actually ended up saying in that text box that concerned by friends routing, but sometimes it will say that. But there's no longer a guard unit over here to help bolster the morale of these men. Here's the center line. It's still just my skirmishers in line firing back and forth. You can see his skirmishers are mostly intact. So his skirmishers did quite well in this battle. But you can see a lot of his line units are pretty depleted from the skirmisher fire of my own men. And skirmishers in this game are important, and they definitely play a role, but they're definitely not quite as strong as they were in Empire Total War. Yep. Anyway, let's move down the line here. My opponent went ahead and just rushed his troops into melee. I think at this point he's pretty much given up, because he sent me a message saying that he sucks at this game. And I was telling him he doesn't suck, and to be honest, I consider myself to not be very good. And so I can understand why he's frustrated. It's just sometimes when you make mistakes in Napoleon Total War and someone capitalizes on it, you will lose from it. And it's a little more complicated, I have to say, than Rome Total War. Rome Total War had some good strategy, but basically, if you could get the first hammer and anvil blow, you would a lot of times win the fight. And in Napoleon Total War, there's a lot more nuances to how the game works. It was the same way in Empire Total War. Because it's a different style of fighting with muskets and rifles, it definitely requires some different types of strategies and different types of gameplay. And I do enjoy that very much. So it's not quite as straightforward on this game, and to be honest, it really takes a lot more. I may get people mad at me. Personally, I think it takes more skill to be very good at Napoleon or Empire than it did Rome Total War. Here's the results screen. I was running out of time, so I'm just going to get here. You can see my opponent there. I can't read his name. You'll be able to see it. I think it was Mayday. He played well, and just like I say, good game to him. And keep practicing. To anybody at this game who gets frustrated, just do like me. I'm not really great at any of the Total War games, but I keep at it. So don't get discouraged. Anyway, I am glad to be back making videos. Hope you're enjoying this one. I know it probably wasn't the most exciting video because it's all in the grassy flatlands, but as I said, it's just really nice to be done with some of those tests. I do have a lot more school assignments though before the semester's over, and then I'm going to be searching for work, and I am still going to be busy. So my videos might be sporadic, but I'll do my best to keep them coming. Here's some of the statistics if you're interested in that. And I will see you next time.